Alright, so I cleaned the base up a little bit better than it was. It's still, well, you can still see the sawdust on it, but anyhow, down in here, below this plate, which is the bottom plate, if we like it in here, there you go, you can see little pieces of red here and there. What I did was underneath the saw, I put duct tape all the way around that to try to make it more airtight. Now, one of the other problems I have is with air leakage is this. What I'm thinking I might do is, I have a little piece of pine here. See it down in there that I just dropped? Will I get it? Sorry about that. Anyway, I got this little piece of pine. And what I'm thinking is I'm going to put it right over that hole, draw a line on the inside, cut it out to fit in that hole, and then put a piece of backer plate on this side, and I'll be able to use it as a plug. Alright, look at this. I've made this plug. So there's my plug with a little piece of backer on it. And it just goes right in that hole. Just as slick as that. And I'm going to, if I can show you the back of it here, down in there, I'm just thinking I'm going to just put some tape on that to hold it, see how it works. If it works like I think it's going to work, then I'll put a couple of sheet metal screws in that to hold it on. But anyway, that's going to be the hole for the back, or plug for the back hole. Now, another piece of, or spot where air leaks is on these corners. As you can see in there, look at that. See that? You can get right through there. Alright, as a temporary try, I put just some masking tape on the corners. The next thing is this beast right here. And of course that's where the shaft goes when you angle the blade. It has to have a place to rotate. And I have an idea of that, putting some foam around it, but I'm not sure where or how I'm going to mount the foam until I put the trunnion and everything back in. I never looked at that enough before I took it apart. So I'm going to try to start reassembling the saw and see how I make out as far as space goes for in there. And I may stop halfway through putting the trunnion back in to put my little piece of foam dust stop in there. I'm thinking I'd like to put it on the outside because it sucks. So if it sucks, it would pull the foam in tight against the cabinet and help make a better air break. But anyways, we'll see. I'm going to start putting the trunnion together now. This is fun, eh? I never had so much fun since my mother got her arm caught in the wringer washer. I have the shaft for the drive, or for the pulley sheave to run the blade. I have to put bearings on it and mount it back in this trunnion piece. So before I can go any further in the assembly, I'm going to clean that up, put the bearings and assemble that. Okay, so we're back here trying to put the saw together. I may regret this, but I used a grease on these trunnions, here and here. I greased the top side and a little bit on the bottom, but this top side is going to take the weight, so it's more important to get grease on that. I also greased this screw thread down here, and that's going to get covered with sawdust. I know darn well it is, but I couldn't find any good grease anywhere else, so I put grease on this rack here, and on this rack on the trunnion, and on that screw gear. So I couldn't find anything when I was in town the other day looking, yesterday, I couldn't find anything that would be a non-sticky lubricant. There you go. So we're going to put grease on it. I may be sorry, but I think it's better to be greased than not. Anyway, I remember years ago, I knew mechanics who made their living packing rear ends and transmissions, gearboxes with oil and sawdust, so maybe this is going to work out really good. You never know. Anyways, we'll see. I'm going to start putting her back together now. So there's the trunnion back in. Not tightened down yet, but man, oh man, quite a rustle to get that puppy in there. So I have to line her all up and tighten her down now, and then try to put the motor on. Alright, boys and girls, here we are. Look at that. Oops, I can't see too good there. Got the trunnion back in. That was kind of a job, trying to fit that. But anyways, we got her in, and down below here, if we can see, I've got the motor hung back on here. And that was quite a job too. That motor is heavy and that's an awkward position. But anyways, we got her in. And what I did was this pin, where it was so hard getting that pin out when I was removing it, I ended up taking this junction box cover off here so that I could drive the pin in this way. So it worked a lot better. So anyways, there you go. I'm going to put the junction box back on here and hook this motor up and align the belts, put the belts on it up here, and align this sheave with the motor sheave, and we're going to power it up and see if it sounds any better. Alright, what we're trying to do here, I'm not sure how this is going to work out, but I'm trying to align this pulley on the arbor for the blade with the pulley down below that you can just barely see right there, and that's the pulley on the motor. They have to be aligned, of course, so that the belts can run true with a minimal amount of vibration and excessive load, and don't want to wear the belts out or anything like that prematurely. Heaven forbid. Anyways, I'm going to use, since I don't have a laser aligner, and it's tough to get a straight edge in there, I'm going to use the old string method. We used to use this at work all the time. Now, whether you can see that or not, the original position that I had, well, not the original, but I had the sheave on the motor. When I installed that after rebuilding the motor, it was pushed onto the shaft quite far. So if you can notice, the string method, all we do is line the string up with the sides of the sheaves and see if we can see light. Make sure that they both are parallel with one another. So I have a light here on my forehead that I'm going to try and shine down in there if I can. So when I hold this string tight on this top sheave up here, and when I brush it against the side of the bottom pulley, I can see that it touches on the far side of the bottom pulley. If you can see my finger down there, this pulley down here, yeah, it's almost impossible to see this. Anyways, what I'm trying to say is this pulley has to come off the motor shaft, pull out to the end of the motor shaft more. So I'm going to just try to realign that. It's not going to take much. And like, this is by far not an ideal alignment, but it's going to minimize the misalignment. So now I have the string tight on the arbor sheave, and when I just come close to the sheave on the motor, I can see it looks like it's pretty near there. Just out a little bit more there. So I'll touch that. That looks pretty good. I'm gonna say that's perfect for this guy. Now there's a set screw in there. All I have to do is hold that sheave on the motor. Whoopsie. There, see, I moved it. So now I have to go do that again. But when I get her lined up this way, it's close. I'll tighten up those set screws, and we'll be good. The reason I'm adjusting the sheave on the motor pulley is because this sheave up here is centered between these two collars, and that pulley is not adjustable. It won't move back and forth. That's where it lives, and it'll always be there. So you can adjust the bottom one. So I've got that pretty well where I want it. I'm going to try and hold it in place now again and tighten the set screw. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, George, I think we better. Let me get one more little crank on that. Yep, here we go. Now I'm going to put my stringy thing on it again. Man, trying to push a string, eh? Just about next to impossible. So up here on the top sheave, that's tight. And on the bottom sheave, oh yeah, I like that, eh? It's just about as close as you can get with a string. So, that was a rudimentary demonstration of how to try to align a couple of pulleys. So anyways, gonna put the tighten up that other set screw, put the junction box on, wire the motor, then we're gonna put the belts on and flash her up. Okay folks, got the motor in and wired up. I got the belts on and tensioned. Everything's tight up here. I got the power plugged in. We're ready to give her a buzz. Watch this now. Stand back and watch for flying pieces. Here we go. Doesn't sound too bad. I think we'll go with that.